Hi, this is Mike Taylor from Web-Based Recruitment, and today I'm with Andy Hyatt, who's the Creative and Digital Director at Hodes. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Yeah, good to see you again. You spoke at our social media recruitment conference a couple of years ago, which was excellent, talking about ROI, but this time you're coming back to talk about the wonders of mobile recruitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to your session in the afternoon. Two parts of the session. First of all about how to get going with mobile, and secondly, an afternoon session with some of your clients who you've helped build sites for. So, do you want to give us an overview of what you're going to be covering on the day?
Absolutely. The first session really is to help clients sift through the landscape of choices that are out there. I think at the moment there are far too many clients are looking at or forced to make a choice between social media or mobile or other channels, whereas the reality is convergence has reached such a point that it's not a choice you should be making. Actually, what you should be asking yourself is what it is you're trying to achieve and how you can achieve that across the various channels. So in order to do that, we need to be able to arm our clients and anyone out there with the information they need to help make sure that the right approach is signed off. So the first session we'll talk a bit about metrics, how many people are out there, some research that's recently been produced around not just current usage but anticipated usage by candidates of mobile sites, and then look at the different options available to you. So if you're developing an app, what does that mean? How many people are using that? What's the research around it? What sort of considerations should you have? Do you develop a mobile site and a desktop site, or do you go fully responsive? What's the difference between the two, and what impact does it have on the end customer? And we'll use client examples to be able to show you the difference in terms of how it looks to the end user and some of the potential pitfalls.
That's good. I can say there's a lot of confusion out there today about which route to go down, so you've got to steer in terms of what to do.
I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult for any client out there because there is no real right answer. There's only an answer that's right for you. And I think that when you ask the question of, well, what should we do? And someone says back to you, well, what is it you want to do? That's very confusing. And there are a lot of people who will stand out there and say, this is the way to do it. Whereas the reality is, it's not as clear cut as that. You think about mobile, a lot of people think about mobile and just think, oh, well, I'm developing for a mobile phone. Well, the reality, we look at mobile and think that means anything that is portable. So a tablet, a mobile phone, it could be a camera. If you're on its head now, a lot of the cameras are internet enabled. Gaming device. And so you think about the plethora of channels that are portable, and then we have to think about, well, how are we going to convey the information to an end candidate, but at the same time making sure that the experience and the way the information is presented reflects our client brand in the proper way. And as I said, for any client trying to make that choice, I think they need help and support. And so the first session is, here's our view as an agency that does this on a daily basis, and then the idea of the second session is, let's hear about the clients who've gone through this process. How did they persuade people around them to invest in the various decisions that they chose? And it's always useful. So each client will have sort of 5 minutes to talk about some of the key issues and that they went through, the key choices they made. And then we'd open up to a more interactive Q&A session so you can ask clients directly. And I think between those two sessions, it should give anyone out there the information they need to make the right choice, the best choice for them and the company they work for.
That sounds really, really good, because one of the highlights of our previous conferences is the success stories from previous delegates coming along, and I see this being exactly the same, that people can learn from people who've already been through the stages they put in their head, like, what do I do next, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's reassuring to hear from people who've already been down that path.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because it's not just about successes. So quite often in going through this process it's understanding the pitfalls that are ahead and how to navigate them, and the way an agency will navigate that with a client, and that's a relationship, is very different than the way that you. I've worked as a client. I worked at Lloyd's, and trying to persuade my seniors who quite often didn't understand what we're talking about. They have other pressing issues. I hate to say we're in a cost-constrained environment, but it's pretty grim out there, and therefore trying to persuade someone to invest in something that they see as spurious. And that's we're still trying to persuade clients that or organisations that social media is something to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And so suddenly we're saying, well, it must be mobile. It's just, well, from their point of view, it's, I've got another cost. When does this stop? Yeah, exactly. So that's why the balance of having us talking about it and having our clients talk about it allows you not just to see kind of this is the way it can be done and see all the nice polished examples, but also understand the kind of the pitfalls, the things that could go wrong or could go right with each one.
There seems to be more noise around in 2013 about mobile. Have you noticed that yourself?
Yeah, I think that there is a certain air of inevitability. I remember 2000, I think we were saying, yep, that's it, it's, mobile is here, and every year they said this is the year of the mobile. What's happened, predominantly driven by social media and predominantly driven in the UK by Facebook, is that the mobile has proliferated, so that the penetration of mobile devices has reached such an extent, and people are actively using them in their day-to-day life, and so therefore, as with Facebook, it's reached such a degree of penetration that you can't not, the hideous double negative, but can't not take it seriously. And therefore the questions of whether we should or shouldn't should now be a question of how do we do that? Brilliant. But you're absolutely right, a lot of people are talking about it.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing you and your clients on the 11th of July at the Mobile Recruitment Conference in London. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you then.
Thanks very much. Look forward to it too.